Di ba? May nagmumura. May name calling. They resort to name calling. They call politicians, they call people by other names. Na insulto nga minsan di ba? Meron naman dyan na nananawagan ng kaguluhan sa bansa. And these are the things that we want to check. Yan po, kaya yung mga nanonood doon ng mga vloggers na walang ginawa, kundi magmura, they've crossed the line of decency doon papunta sa criminal act of being libelous or slanderous used by the country, and of course people will benefit. Tama?
Sir, ako lang, kasi ang legislators, you live in a glass house. So part and parcel of your public life are attacks being made.
That's normal.
That's normal. But there is also such a thing as contrarian view. Kasi kung papatulan yung opinion yun Ngayon, kung factual, kaya
I'm only referring to fake news peddling.
You really have to be responsible for what you say or what you do. Yun lang, sir, siguro sa legislation, really you have to look for a definition on fake news. What is fake news is really something that has to be defined.
Of the onion skin. But I think, kasi, hindi naman yung skin natin ng, yung damdamin natin Ang problem yung damdamin ng mga nakapaligid sa atin, pamilya natin, anak natin, sila yung tinatamaan dito
A politician na tinitira sa face ng fake news.
Sir, alam nyo, pag tinira kayo, ang kailangan authentic ang inyong reply. Ang problema ho sa ibang politiko, it takes time for them to react, and by that time, it becomes now the truth.
Being a blogger or content creator, you can share to us kung ano po yung mga experiences that you have in creating that kind of content. May it be right information or wrong, you have to give us your insights. So siguro unahin natin sino unang dumating sa kanila? Si Malu. Malu. Malu.
Thank you.
Tikia.
Thank you, Mr.
You are
Chairman.
recognized, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and your honors. Thank you for your invitation. For me to, quote, share your knowledge and experience with social media with the end in view of promoting accountability, authenticity, and digital well-being. I am Malu Tikia. I'm an op-ed columnist of Manila Times for 12 years now and a political consultant for 30 years. I spent my young productive years in the Senate in 1987 to 1989 and in the House of Representatives from 1992 to 1999. I am appearing before you today to honor that institutional tradition. How do I use social media channels? I use it as a platform for commentaries, advocacies, and as alternative classroom to discuss hot-button issues, explaining and making sense of issues to the public. I am not a blogger or a vlogger. I have a personal meta page. I do not have a social media company. I have not been involved with any narco and pogo groups. I am not pro-China. I am pro-Philippines. Having said that, allow me to state for the record that despite not being in a public office, I too am fair game. I have been bashed, bullied, accused of so many things, but when it comes to factual matters, malicious attacks, I choose my legal rights. One, against a lawyer who claimed that I was part of the Marcos Jr. campaign in 2022, and because of my survey results, I got a penthouse in BGC and drives around in a Range Rover. Both were lies. The case is pending. Then a private group in Meta chose to put out in public a photo of so-called DDS Coral with me on the center with a pig snout. Mind you, there were more than 12 persons there, some of whom I do not personally know. I am not DDS, nor am I part of the so-called DDS chorale. When they chose to bring it out of a private group and shared it publicly, it was done maliciously. So again, I filed a case. There was a time also in 2022 when the survey results of my company were maliciously altered. I called the media organization and a person in another political camp, requesting them to correct the matter, or else I will avail of my legal rights. Both corrected, the latter even made a public apology. Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, the Constitution begins on page 1 with 3 words, "We the people." And Article 3, Section 4, refers to the Bill of Rights, specifically freedom of speech, freedom of expression, or of the press, and freedom of assembly are the bedrocks of democracy. But in politics, as you very well know, truth have various shades. For so long as there is no malice, we should err on the side of freedoms than contain them. Your Honors, contrarian views are protected by such rights. Prior restraint is anathema to democracy. My thoughts in this hearing, number one, please be fair. And I say that because are you inviting critics, bloggers, creators, joiners, collectors, spectators, inactives? Because the 3-second rule really controls social media. These are the different classifications when you refer to social media. If Congress wants to deal with false narratives, all sides must be present. Number 2, be careful of reported social media strategists who offer politicians, candidates, a plan on increasing followers. Your Honors, Mr. Chairman, followers are not voters. And the staggering costs are so scandalous and borders on being scams. You are being scammed if you follow the dictate of the more followers, the better for campaign. There were reports too where some influencers became guns for hire during campaigns. Number 3, Congress, and I am being, a lot of people are asking me not to say this, but I am sticking my head out here. Congress should ban the use of troll armies. Troll farms represent a significant challenge in the digital age, blending cyber warfare with psychological manipulation. Addressing them requires technological innovation, regulatory frameworks, and public awareness to safeguard democratic discourse. I am happy to note that these committees started with the pioneering work of Dr. Jonathan Ong and Dr. Jason Cabañez, entitled Architects of Network Disinformation. Number 4, near January 20, 2025, the inaugural of the US President, Meta ended fact-checking and replaced it with community notes, which X was an early adopter of. This is an evolving matter that we need to consistently be aware of, as well as AI and deepfakes. Congress should study what has been done in various countries that have implemented measures to ban or regulate the use of troll farms and coordinated inauthentic behavior, especially during campaigns and elections. I am referring to some 11 countries here for you to consider. As far as EU is concerned, they came up with the Digital Services Act and the Code of Practice on Disinformation. The US has Honest Ads Act. Germany has the Network Enforcement Act. France bans false information spread close to elections and mandates ad transparency. Brazil has fake news law that criminalizes the creating of fake accounts to spread election falsehoods. Taiwan recently criminalized foreign interference, including disinformation campaigns, with a fact-checking initiative to counteract troll army activity. Canada has Elections Modernization Act that prohibits foreign interference and mandates ad transparency. Australia has Electoral Integrity Bill criminalizing foreign interference and requires ad disclosure. The UK has an online safety law that holds platforms accountable for harmful content, including election disinformation. South Korea criminalizes spreading false information during campaigns. And Singapore, which was mentioned a while ago, allows government correction and removal of falsehoods. The 3-second rule is the controlling law in social media. And because of that, legislation has to be circumscribed and made quickly so that for the 2025 elections, we remove the disinformation effect of the troll farms. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and your honors.
Mr. Chair, just a clarification if I
Yes,
may.
go ahead, Congressman Art Barbers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to address this clarification to Ms. Malu Tikia. Malu, para lang sa kaalaman ng marami, ang objective o layunin kasi nitong committee hearing na ito ay magpasa ng mga batas, no? Gaya ng nabanggit mo sa ibang bansa na kung saan ay merong mga batas, no, to protect, no, yung the people from online scams and others, no, and other illegal activities that is being done in the cyberspace. Dito sa atin sa ngayon, Malu, no, marami kasing mga vloggers, habang tayo'y naghihiring ngayon, ang komentaryo ay sinasabi nila na we do not respect that committee hearing kasi yung hearing na yan suppression ng aming freedom of speech or freedom of expression. Hindi kami naniniwala na ang layunin niyan ay para gumawa ng batas. Since you are here, I'd like to get a categorical opinion from you na ikaw ba ay naniniwala na tama lang na tayo ay gumawa ng batas para magkaroon ng disiplina, magkaroon ng regulatory framework ang ating bansa sa paggamit ng social media?
Sir, to directly respond to Congressman Barbers, yes.
Okay.
For the simple reason that the decency of the space has been crossed so much. So yes.
There are statements that are being issued that are slanderous or libelous, correct? And you agree with me, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so marami kasing ganyan Maaring hindi nila aaminin o hindi sila informed, no, kung ano na yung kanilang limitasyon sa paggamit ng social media. Kasi yun na nga ang sinabi ko kanina, no? When you open your social media account, sometimes makikita mo may nagmumura. Di ba? May nagmumura. May name calling. They resort to name calling. They call politicians, they call people by other names. Na insulto nga minsan di ba? Meron naman dyan na nananawagan ng kaguluhan sa bansa. And these are the things that we want to check. Yan po, kaya yung mga nanonood doon ng mga vloggers na walang ginawa, kundi magmura, they've crossed the line of decency doon papunta sa criminal act of being libelous or slanderous. So, yun ang gusto nating linawin. And I'm glad that Professor Malu Tikia is here to agree with this committee's objective in coming up with this legislation, remedial laws or legislation that can be used by the country, and of course, people will benefit. Tama?
Sir, ako lang, kasi ang legislators, you live in a glass house. So part and parcel of your public life are attacks being made.
And that's normal.
That's normal. But there is also such a thing as contrarian view. Kasi kung papatulan yung opinion opinion yun eh. Ngayon, kung factual, kaya I brought,
I'm only referring to fake news peddling.
yeah,
Yung opinion, they can share, they can express their opinion 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. And no one will stop them from doing that. That's their right.
yes.
And we know that and we respect that right.
Thank you for that.
Diba? Pero, kapag you've crossed the line, created a story, created a news that is fake, and you peddled it, diba? Teka muna, may pananagutan tayo sa batas. And you know that, diba?
Yes, sir.
So, that's very clear. We will not debate and argue about opinions.
Yes.
Because your opinion
Yes.
is I respect, and my opinion you should also respect.
Yes.
Diba? Ganun din po, this goes the same to all social media actors or bloggers, so to speak, no? Kasi, syempre, kayo nandyan sa industry yan, you control the narrative eh. Kasi kayo nandyan dyan, trabaho nyo siguro yan. Perhaps you even make money out of that, no? Especially to those who actually can monetize, no? Yung kanilang, ano ba, namo-monetize
Yes,
yan,
sir.
Malu? Oh.
That's why I said I am not a blogger or a vlogger because I do not earn from it. My meta page is my personal page. And to a certain degree, you really have to be responsible for what you say or what you do. Yun lang, sir, siguro sa legislation, really you have to look for a definition on fake news. What is fake news is really something that has to be defined.
I absolutely agree with you, and that is why we're consulting and getting opinions from the experts, no? Yung ating members of the academe, like you, you're a practitioner, and the government agencies, para makagawa po tayo ng batas. Yun lamang po ang ating layunin. So yung mga nagtatago sa likod ng usapin na ito ay curtailment ng freedom of expression o freedom of speech, sila po yung talagang namamayagpag sa pagkalat ng fake news dito sa ating bansa.
Mr. Chairman, the fact that I agreed to appear and honor your invitation, and I was given the chance to say what I want to say, I don't think that is curtailment of my right to expression.
And you're a perfect example and manifestation that indeed there was no curtailment of freedom of expression and speech in this committee hearing.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Congresswoman, first, I think in the minimum, we need a code of ethics. Whether you agree with what is in the code of ethics, at least it prescribes a certain behavior for those who would go on a social media page. Second, I think I would suggest to the legislators and the politicians here, Facebook, which is #1 in the Philippines, can actually provide free pulse of the public. You just have to understand the principle of the crowd, the principle of herds. And when you listen, when you post something and you ask reaction from the public, that is free and unfiltered. It is how you receive those comments that may not be to your liking. A focus group discussion would probably cost 500,000. Posting a line or two on a proposal, a bill, and seeking the pulse of the public is free. So I guess what am I saying? It can work both ways. For so long as the virality and the engagement is organic, I don't think we need to restrict expression. But in the minimum, let's have a code of ethics.
I'd like to ask any respondent present, Mr. Chair, if they can answer. Why did social media bloggers proliferate? Bakit po sila dumami?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Would you want to answer the
Yes, sir.
question?
Anybody, Mr. Chair?
you're raising your hand, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Sige, go
Bakit
ahead.
dumami? Because it is free. It's personalized. You hide behind the veneer of some lock their profile. So bakit dumami? It's the in thing, mabilis. Again, I go back to the 3 seconds rule. Hindi mo siya mahagilap. Pangatlo, dahil personalized, Filipinos are very personal. They're very private. But because of Facebook, you are able to immediately say something, post something, and if it virals or is shared, then to a certain degree na-discover mo yung kagandahan ng technology. It's just that syempre meron ring side na ina-abuse. So sir, libre yun. Imagine you talking to your loved ones, free. TikTok created a different animal. But TikTok is very segmented. You want to talk with the youth, go TikTok. But you cannot carry, your messaging has to adjust to their level. You cannot be doing TikTok and talk about freedom or rights. You have to contextualize that. So, makikita nyo ho, ibang-iba. And the other thing that, it's not only Facebook, even IG, Filipinos are very visual. So, you take a picture na napaka-ordinaryo, they will not share. But you add color, you add culture, it becomes shareable. So these days, our world is becoming so small that you can actually send so many things and it becomes viral. So
Is it also possible, Mr. Chair, that they can get more information, they can share more information through social media than they can get from the mainstream media?
pwede yun, sir. May replacement factor kasi ang mainstream media takes a while to print. But ito, at the moment, you get to push what is happening. And
That sometimes they do not trust mainstream media for information.
meron study, sir, na ganyan.
Yes, because, Mr. Chair, ako po, biktima ko po nabiktima rin ako ng dalawang broad seat na yan. Yung sinasabi ko po sa inyo kanina, when we started, if you remember, last January 13, this year, there was a huge rally that happened. And I think this is something that we can agree on without debating with one another. It was a huge rally. In Metro Manila alone, the two broad states, I was referring to, estimated the crowd to be in the vicinity of 1.8 million participants. And there were 12 more sites across the nation. So the total, according to estimates, should not be less than 4 million people. Pag binasa po ninyo yung dalawang broad seats, Mr. Chair, on December 14, where the event is supposed to be reported, hindi man lang po ako na-mention. I was one of the speakers in that youth rally. Ang ating Senate President po was not there. Pero was given at least 2 paragraphs doon sa kanilang. Meron pong mga politicians na dumalo doon, although they were not invited. Pero na-mention po silang lahat. Ako po na nagsalita close to about 1 hour. Ni anino ko po hindi nabanggit eh. Mr. Chair, kahit na po sana yung sinabi, there was a politician who spoke there. We don't know him at all. Baka okay na sa akin yun eh. Not even an asterisk. Mr. Chair, tingnan po ninyo yung slogan ng dalawang broad seats. Balanced news. Fearless views. How can you balance that news? When one of the actors there, ako po yung nag-provide ng context. Bakit po takot na takot sila na banggitin na sa... Siguro, Mr. Chair, kung Baka may litrato kung maliit doon. Baka mamaya nilagnat po yung editor doon. Eh. Yung isa pang broadsheet, truth shall prevail. Paano po? Nasaan po yung truth doon? Other politicians who just happened to be there, na-mention po lahat ang pangalan. Except me. So dito po, natitipon tayo ngayon para pag-usapan yung mga bagay-bagay na nai-report yung po talaga sobra. And I admit that. Kagaya po nung nangyari kanina ngayon. Yung iba naman po tama lang yung ginagawa nila, Mr. Chair, sapagkat they can criticize. Lalong-lalo na po doon sa mga public figures and public servants like us. Huwag po tayong balat sibuyas, sabi po ng jurisprudence. Meron pa nga pong doctrine of fair comment. Ito po ay nagawa dun sa Borjal versus CA. Na kapag ka po yung isang pinag-uusapan relates to public interest, in public discourse, huwag po tayong masyadong manipis. Talagang meron po silang karapatang i-criticize tayo. Tama po yun. Maliwanag po na nakalagay sa ating saligang batas. Pinoproteksyon na ng free speech. At pagka po public issues po, public discourse talaga, may karapatan sila kahit vlogger sila, kaya mag-criticize. Meron lamang po talagang dapat na limit lamang na dapat po yung mali siya ay wag namang pinakikiusap natin, wag naman nilang ilagay yon. Kanina po, napatunayan ko na po kanina na dahil ako po naglagay lang ng isang sa aming Facebook yata yon. Kinakamayan ko po ang ating former Vice President kasi nandun po ako sa Naga. Napansin namin nung bago kami umalis, malapit po pala yung opisina niya doon sa aming sinakyan. Ay naipasya namin na bisitahin din ang ating Vice President. Para sa akin po wala naman pong masama siguro. Naipaliwanag ko lamang doon na I was running as an independent. Talaga naman po. So if I associate myself even personally to our public figures, at sinabi ko nga po doon, I can relate myself even personally, and even unity can begin in a handshake. Bakit naman po kailangan mag-vlog siya na yun po ipakulo at panlilin lang? Ngayon tinatanong ko po sa kanya kung ano yung panlilin lang doon. Doon hindi na po yun na public discourse Sana man lang kung sinabi niya yung pagka-handshake, mali. Okay lang yun Kagaya po nung sinabi ko rin kanina na may nakitandem po sa akin na isang senatorial aspirant. Hindi naman po ako yung gumawa ng billboard. Pinatawad ko na po yung female blogger na yun Kasi kasama po yun sa ating buhay bilang public servant. Yan po talaga ay protected ng ating saligang batas. Ang medyo masakit lamang po yung nagpapanggap na akala mo responsible sila. Abogado pang naturingan at nagtuturo pala. Pagkatapos patututsadahan ka ng huwag kayong maniwala sa pakulo at panlilin lang ni Marcoleta. Wala naman po siyang maihayag na isang uri man lang na panlilin lang. Ayun na po yung nakakasakit. Nakakalinlang na po. Siya po yung nanlilin lang na, hindi po ako Naililigaw po niya yung marami. Ayoko po, Mr. Chair, na matapos tayo dito na parang kinakartel po ang rights ng mga vloggers. Hindi po, huwag natin gagawin yun. Sapagkat karapatan po nila na i-criticize tayo sa paraan na talagang kailangang mangyari yon. Pero wag silang magpapakasobra, kagaya po ng aking sinasabi kanina. At sabi niya, hindi siya mag-apologize sapagkat opinion niya. Pwede po bang mag-formulate ka ng opinion nang hindi mo naman kayang i-substantiate? Mag-charge ka ng isang tao na sasabihin mong nanlilin lang ng kapwa Pilipino at opinion mo pala yun? Yan po siguro yung dapat nating lamang nabigyan ng attention, Mr. Chair. Yung mga ganong klaseng mga pamamaraan ng pag-criticize sa atin nang wala namang basihan. Pag may basihan po, yun po yung sinasabi ng doctrine of fair comment. Basta mayroong pinagbasihan po na kinakailangan kang makriticize. But if unity begins with a handshake, ay sasabihin niya pong panlilin lang. Talaga po, hindi naman tama yun. Kaya po sa ngalan po ng mga vloggers na kailangan din po natin sila, lalo na ang kinukomment po nila yung governance. Okay lang po sa atin yun. Huwag po tayong magiging balat sibuyas, sabi po ng jurisprudence. Kami po ay hindi balat sibuyas pagdating doon. Ngunit, kailangan tayuan naman po nila pagkaharap-harapan. Yung criticism po dapat merong basis. Kung wala pong basis, Mr. Chair, ay lalo pong napapahamak yung mga taong pinagsisilbihan nila. So, imbes na po sila yung makapag-inform, naililigaw po nila yung marami sa atin. Yun po siguro yung dapat nating bigyan ng ano. Katulad po ng binanggit ko kanina, sana maitanong ko po kay Dr. Rachel Khan kung nandyan pa po siya.
I think yung ating pong akadema, no, umalis na siya yung nasa online.
Kasi kanina po, Mr.
Paalam
Chair,
kanina.
dinistinguish po niya yung misinformation, disinformation, at saka malinformation. Yun pong
Hindi ate,
misinformation.
yung isa nating academe nandito pa ba yung academe natin sa sa UP?
Kung nandyan po siguro, wala na po ba?
Pa-excuse na rin, Congressman Marcoleta.
Yes,
You can
Mr.
proceed.
Chair, sinabi po sa misinformation, ito po ay karaniwan, nangyayari sa pagkakamali at wala naman siyang intensyon na iligaw yung ating publiko. Yung isa po yung disinformation, ito sinabi niya ito yung deliberate. Ito yung manipulative. Dito po ay masasakop yung ginawa ng dalawang broadsheets. Deliberate po na ginawa nila. Manipulative sapagkat paano po nila ako naalis doon sa pangyayari noong January 13. Isa po ako sa nagsalita. Sana man lang may sinabi sila, meron pong isang taga-Congress ang nagsalita. Period. Okay na po sa akin yun. Pero totally po na obliterate po ako. Iyon po ay disinformation. Yun po ay hindi tama at nalilin lang po ang ating mga mamamayan. Lalo na po yung malinformation. Ito po ay nangaatake ng reputasyon. Ito po yung deepfake. Ito lamang po siguro yung inaatake natin. Pero po yung misinformation, nagkamali siya halimbawa, na-overlook po niya yung ibang mga bagay. Huwag po tayong masyadong mahigpit sa kanila. Pabayaan po natin sila sapagkat nakakatulong naman sila. Baka naman sa ating pagmamadali po ay nagkakamali rin tayo. Hayaan natin silang i-criticize din nila tayo. Huwag lamang po yung talagang lantaran na po at deliberate. At kung tatanungin mo naman, wala naman po palang basihan kagaya po ng napatunayan ko sa hapong ito. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Congressman Marcoleta. I was supposed to ask you something about that Supreme Court decision about the Balat Sibuyas issue. When was this promulgated? Ay, hindi pa tayo dapat magtanungan. Sa resource person pala. Don't you think it's high time that we have another jurisprudence? Because
Matagal na to, Mr. Chair. Pero landmark ito eh.
Oo nga, matagal
Kasi
yan.
pagka hindi naman, siguro hanggang ngayon naman, relevant pa ito. Otherwise, the Supreme Court,
Pero iba na kasi yung iba na kasi yung texture ng ating ng evolution ng
meron din naman,
technology.
there's the Office of the Ombudsman. Ang sabi niya, a public official, more especially an elected one, kagaya mo, Mr. Chair, should not be onion skin.
Wala na, makapal na mukha natin.
Kaya nga eh. Pero you're asking for jurisprudence, nandito po lang yun. But recently ito kasi may ombudsman na tayo ngayon.
Most likely, naging basis ng ombudsman was the jurisprudence of the Supreme Court of the onion skin. But I think kasi hindi naman yung skin natin ng yung damdamin natin eh. Ang problem yung damdamin ng mga nakapaligid sa atin, pamilya natin, anak natin. Sila yung tinatamaan dito eh. Di ba? I know that we should not. But well, sabagay, desisyon po yan ng kataas-taasang Korte Suprema, and we respect that.
Miss Malu, I just would like to know the real definition of fake news. Sa inyo, ano po? At ito ba ay buong Pilipinas na ba to? O dito lang sa Metro Manila? Please.
Mr. Chairman, Congressman Abante, fake news can either be misinformation or disinformation. Misinformation is walang malicious intent. Nagkamali, for example, ang birthday ni Jose Rizal ay February. That's misinformation. Pero yung disinformation, pag sinabi mo na ang birthday ni Jose Rizal ay nung November 30, meron ka ng malis doon kasi alam mo birthday yun ni Andres Bonifacio. Malinformation on the other hand is manipulative propaganda. And there's such a thing as in propaganda, there is good propaganda and there is manipulative. You want to achieve an end goal which the facts do not bear you out. So ang fake news ho para sa akin ay alam mo yung katotohanan, factual, pero iniiba mo yung istorya. Iniiba mo yung, there's such a thing, sir, nasa messaging sa communication frame, iniiba mo yung impormasyon to suit your end. So that is, to me, fake news. Kung sinabi ko, sir, na si Congressman Abante ay taga Manila, that's fact. Pero pag sinabi kong si Congressman Abante ay taga Manila pero tumitira sa Quezon City, the facts do not bear you out. So that can be seen as manipulative if I say, hindi actually botante yan eh. That is fake news. But it started with facts. Nakatira si Congressman Abante sa Manila. Tapos ang sumunod, hindi naman sa Quezon City yan nakatira. So, hindi botante. Ergo, hindi kandidato.
Do you call that misinformation or disinformation?
Sir, that is already disinformation as far as I'm concerned. The misinformation is, hindi naman dyan sa Quezon City. Wala kang facts. Diba? So, how do you rebut that? By showing that you are a resident of Manila. Marami kasi, sir, nangyayari dahil dyan sa fake news, yung reputational sa online, lahat siguro ng mga politiko na aapektuhan yan. Kasi meron kayong reputation that to a certain degree is ito yung ginagamit mo for re-election. So pag nasira ka online, which means reputational, napakahirap bumangon. So, pag sunod-sunod yung sinasabi, it forms a certain conclusion in the mind of the receiver of the information. Hence, I would say, si Congressman Abante, talagang ang gulo niyan, hindi mo maintindihan kung saan. That is a conclusion arising from fake news.
Is this now true all over the country or only in Metro Manila, for example?
Sir, media centers.
Mr.
I would
Chair?
say in media centers because like in Manila, Cebu, Davao, at pwede ho ninyo, sir, na i-geofence ang location kung saan pumutok yung balitang yon, and you can see the relationship of the role of media centers, the high density of users, and the connectivity in the place.
How does that affect, for example, a politician na tinitira sa face ng fake news?
Sir, alam nyo, pag tinira kayo, ang kailangan authentic ang inyong reply. Ang problema ho sa ibang politiko, it takes time for them to react, and by that time, it becomes now the truth. Kunyari, may lumabas na issue ngayon. Some politicians would say, I do not want to react kasi pag nag-react ako, lalo kong pinahahaba, pinalalaki, yung fake news. Pero kung hindi ho kayo magre-react, that in itself becomes now the narrative, the controlling narrative, which is very, very hard to respond to, especially going into campaign.
So even if it's fake news, the politician must react.
Yes, sir. As far as I'm concerned, kasi you would want to write what is being said about you online. If you don't, it becomes a crisis for you. It becomes a reputational issue. And that is your currency when you run for public office. Sa political consulting ko, ang tawag doon, that's your brand. So if your brand is destroyed, it's going to be very, very hard for you to increase your trust. Natatandaan po ninyo ito, sir, may awareness, may tiwala. Awareness, pwede kayong universal. Ang tiwala, napakahirap i-earn. Ngayon, pag nakikita, ginawa yung issue sa inyo, sa distrito nyo, uuga ho yung tiwala. At alam naman po ninyo, ang tiwala, in a 45-day campaign period, mahirap pong ma-rebuild. It will take time for that
Pero
tiwala.
ang paniwala ng iba, Ms. Malu, when you react, you become defensive. Kanina, nabanggit mo na you have to be offensive on this, di ba?
Sir, kasi sa akin, the best defense is offense. And when you just say, when you be your authentic self, you're opening yourself, ito ako hindi totoo yan. So kung hindi nyo sasabihin hindi totoo yan, ang mga constituents nyo will always say, oh, tinan mo, nagnakaw yan. Oh, tinan mo, yumaman yan. Very hard to control. Especially during a very heated 45-day campaign period. Wala na ho kayong chance to clear that out. So bago pa mag 45-day campaign period, sinagot nyo na. And then you can reshare that. Then you can, push it and make it viral.
So, Mr. Chair, kailangan sa online din, kailangan gumamit.
Yes, sir.
Kailangan gumamit ka din ng vlogger.
Yes, sir. Hindi, sir. Pwedeng
Hindi.
ikaw na sa sarili mong page.
Ganon.
Oo, kasi yun yung authentic self mo Kung pag ginamit mo sa mainstream media, it becomes fodder for news. Lalaki yung issue. 'Di ba? Pero kung sa page mo lang sinagot mo yan, hindi totoo yan.
Oo.
Ito ang aking pag-aari, ito ang aking paniniwala.
So, it is not enough, for example, like sa SOCMED, fake news. Hindi naman kinukuha ng mainstream media yan. So, it's not enough na hindi ito kinukuha ng mainstream media sapagkat hindi naman totoo yan, di ba?
Yes, sir. Kasi forever nandyan yan. May footprint nung negative reaction sa'yo. So you really have to, kung minsan nga, katulad doon nung exchanges kanina, yung pala 3 years ago pa yung video, so it remains there. And if you don't respond, then it becomes truth. Kaya nga ho, kanina ang sabi ko, in politics, there are shades of truth.
Thank you. That's quite a
Thank you, sir.
revelation to us.